Okay, hello everyone. Good day. So to continue our discussion, we'll be continuing the discussion about exporting. So another type of exporting is direct exporting. So from the word itself, direct exporting, the firm sets up its own exporting department and sells its products via a middleman located in the foreign market. So that means direct exporting is you will be um directly sending your product using a middleman, but it is in the foreign market. So once the international sales potential becomes substantial, direct exporting often looks far more appealing than indirect exporting. So compared to the indirect approach, direct approach has a number of pluses. So let's try to know unsa man ang advantages sa direct exporting. So as you can see here, you are going to directly in contact with a middleman located in a foreign market. So that means, let's say for example, your product is seaweed chips. Kaya bitong seaweed, okay, give mo siya chips. So your direct partner or middleman would be the 7-Eleven in Singapore. Yan naman, 7-Eleven in Singapore, they offer variety of products. So pwede good to see seaweed chips. So you are directly in contact with 7-Eleven as your direct nga exclusive distributor or retailer of seaweed chips. So the exporter has far more control over its international operations. Hence, the sales potential and profit is oftentimes much more significant than under indirect exporting. So it also allows the company to build up its own network in the foreign market and get better market feedback. So it has far more control over its international operations because you are directly, exclusively exporting your product. So sales potential is higher kaya di naman moagi og middleman. Kaya ikaw mismo ga-supply, ang supplier. So medyo dako kag profit and much significant kaysa indirect. Kaya again, indirect exporting means you are going to um be in contact with middleman. So probably mo mahal og samot imong product. So with direct exporting, ikaw na mismo ang nag-supply exclusively to certain nga mga companies. Like example, 7-Eleven, if pagkaw ni mo baligya, or let's say malls in Singapore, kay mo ang baligya kay bags or sanina. So for also you get better market feedback kay again direct with kaga in contact, okay, with those mga companies. So however, given the responsibility for Okay. However, given the responsibility for the exporting task, it is now in the hands of the company. So the demands on the resources, human and financial, are much more intense than with indirect exporting. Nga naman, mas daghan po kag i-consider. Kay imuha naman tanan trabaho, ikaw ang magkuan sa marketing, ikaw ang sa pag-supply, sa pag-export, ikaw mismo ang ga-handle, ikaw ga-follow, na imuhang products, niagi na ba o let's say from Mindanao to Luzon to Singapore directly o na ka imong product so imong i-check ang transition if na safe ba siya naabot sa imuhang kuan kanang partner nga mga companies didto. So it is more demanding, more intense kaysa direct export ay indirect exporting. Kaya naman nam kay giharlain para maghimo ato nga mga activities para di na ka ma-stress. But with direct exporting, ikaw mismo ang nagbagod sa tanan. So from planning to delivering the product to preparing to monitoring, na sila and even marketing itself. So besides the marketing mix, tasks that involve choosing the target markets, identifying and selecting representatives in the foreign markets, and even logistical functions like documentation, insurance, shipping, packaging, imuha na tanan. Imagine, that's why most of the companies would like to do indirect. Kaya nga naman, di na sila gusto mag-trouble themselves with these activities. So you need to know the target market, select the representative, even the logistics, which is mag-deliver mag-ship, mag-package, imuha na tanan. That's for direct exporting. Again, mas dako ka og profit, but dako po siya og demand sa imong mga activities. So that's it for direct exporting. So I hope that's clear. So under indirect exporting, we have at least two types. Okay, exporting, we have two types. We have indirect exporting and also direct exporting. So next would be licensing. So how about licensing? You already asked me about this one. So let's try to review what licensing is. So it is actually a contractual transaction where the license offers some proprietary assets to a foreign company, the licensee, in exchange for royalty fees. So that means you are going to be in contract, okay? A contractual transaction. Mag-use daw ka og mga proprietary assets to a foreign company. So, mag-ask lang ka, let's say, magpa-license ka sa ilaha. Like katong ang example, ang pharmacy. Mag-use ka sa ilang name siguro or mag-use ka sa ilang product o example ilang product para imong i-apply sa imong business. So we have some examples. Examples of assets that can be part of a licensing agreement. So these could be trademarks, technology know-how, production process, and even patents. Let's say for example, nagpa-license ka sa imuhang ay gusto ka og okay, the example would be like kana bitang Coca-Cola. So, nagpa-license ka sa ilaha. So, imong gi-ask is their trademark. Okay. Nag-ask ka sa ilang trademark, which is ang ilang logo. So, imong gi-ask nga if okay ra ba nga i-use nimo ang ilang logo in printing your t-shirts, your mga product. So, yan ang licensing. So, mananghid ka sa ilahang let's say logo kay imong i-print sa ilahang t-shirt nga imong ibaligya. Okay? Your products are t-shirts or merchandise, shoes nga nay logo sa Coke or kanang mga mugs nga nay logo sa Coke. So that means you are under licensing. Nagborrow ka sa ilahang, nagborrow or nagpalit ka sa right over their logo, which is pwede nimo siya i-reproduce. Okay? So that is licensing. So the licensor offers some proprietary assets. So that means imong gipalit sa Coke is their trademark na logo, which is the Coca-Cola nga itself na logo. I guess familiar mo na atong red. So that means pwede nimo siya i-print sa ilahang t-shirt. Another example is, I guess familiar mo with sa MU. We are very strict with IPTBM. So that is licensing ang gihimo sa Marces para makaprint sila sa logo sa CMU. Nagpa-license sila sa CMU para ma-use ang ilang logo, i-print nila sa mga t-shirt, especially sa NFTB nga t-shirt. So royalty rates range from 1/8 of 1% to 15% of sales revenue. So royalty rates means mag-base na siya sa pila ang imuhang i-produce, okay? I-produce na output at the same time expected na revenue. So let's say for example, sa 1 million nga t-shirt, 15% ato kay mo na mo ibayad kay licensing. So we have for instance example here, Oriental Land Company owns and operates Tokyo Disneyland under license from Disney. Okay? Si Tokyo Disneyland ay si Oriental Land Company nagpa-license kay Disney to use their logo or their the name itself. So in return for using the Disney name, Oriental Land Company pays royalties to Disney. Bisag Disney ra nga pangalan, di ba need bayaran? Kaya naman, nagpa-copyright naman si Disney. So that means kung mag-use ka sa Disney, magbayad ka sa ilaha. Another example kay mga songs. I guess familiar mo with copyright with sa mga songs. So songs tends to you should ask for a copyright of yours of a certain song before nimo siya ma-use, especially sa mga vlogs. Kaya nga naman, kung dili ka license or waka na nanghid nga mag-use ana, you will be probably dili pwede i-upload imong video or i-mute ang imong music. So it goes the same with businesses, licensing. So again, gipalit nila ang ngalan nga Disney para ilang ma-use sa Tokyo. So we also have Hasbro, the American toy maker, used a wide-ranging licensing program to bring some of its iconic toy brands to Europe. So for instance, to introduce the Furby character, an interactive robotic toy pet, Hasbro set up a licensing program that covered items such as apparel, back-to-school supplies, food and beverages, home decors, and sporting goods. So that means si Hasbro daw, an American toy maker, nagpa-license po siya. Kaya nga naman, gusto niya, um, gusto niya gamiton tong toy brand sa Europe. So si Furby daw to. Sikat man ni siya sa Europe. So si Furby, mag-produce daw sila og mga sanina, mga supplies nga ay nagdagway ani nga character si Furby. 'Di ba? Kanira nga character pero need nira bayaran in order to produce products para mahalin sa America. So again, si Furby, American ni siya nga toy maker or American ni siya nga character para mabaligya sa Europe. Okay, need siya mag-under og e-license program para makaproduce sila og goods and services nga naidagway ni Furby. So let's try to check kung sa'y dagway ni Furby in a minute. I hope you can see my screen. So this is Furby. So this is actually sa America ni sikat but gusto nila nga pasikat siya sa Europe. So naghimo daw sila og mga products nga na ay dagway ni Furby. This is Furby, a toy. Ay, sa una man ni siya nga toy. So probably na siya sa mga bags. Sa panadel. So I guess let's continue. I hope you can see my screen in a minute. I'll share my screen here. So that is an example for licensing. So let's continue. Another example of global expansion via licensing is Yoplait. So this is a global yogurt brand co-owned by General Mills, the US food conglomerate and French dairy cooperative Sodial. So Yoplait has a network of 26 licenses around the world. So that means si Yoplait kay kuan kanang license ni sila sa uban pud nga countries para i-use ang product ang ilahang ingredients in general, use ang ingredient or ang name sa yogurt daan para mas musikat ug halinan all over the world. So this is actually in US karon kay nisikat na siya in many countries, at least 26 licenses na daw yung giaprobahan para i-use ang let's say ang yang formula kung saan how to make this yogurt or its name itself siguro yung ilang use. Let's say Tokyo U-Plate or Philippines U-Plate yogurt. So yan ang example for licensing. So in high-tech industries, companies often enter cross-licensing agreements, especially again high-tech industries. Mas ganahan sila og licensing agreements because under the cross-licensing agreement, parties mutually share patents of comparable value without payment of licensing fees. One big practitioner of cross-licensing is Microsoft. I guess familiar mo with licenses? Like ato ang Microsoft 360, even Google Chrome naman sila mga license and other nga mga applications nga itong gina-use. Okay? They have what we call patents. So some of these are under a cross-licensing agreement. Example, Windows. Si Windows, kailangan ka og license in order to activate. Si Microsoft, kailangan ka og license for it to activate and so on and so forth. So for Microsoft, in August 2008, for instance, Microsoft and Nikon signed a patent cross-licensing agreement that covered digital cameras and other consumer products. So the agreement enables both parties to innovate with each other's technology. So with them, nagkasinabot daw si Microsoft o si Nikon. I guess familiar mo with Nikon ng mga cameras? Kay kada maka camera, nag-collaborate sila ni Microsoft. So na sila'y licensing agreement. So ilahang pwede sila mag-kubi-kubi with each other. So si Nikon, unsaon daw niya pag-integrate sa camera with the Microsoft nga mga tools or mga let's say laptop, unsaon daw pag-improve. And it goes the same with Microsoft and Nikon. I guess karon kay murag ang mga products nila is kuan mo gud under na mo gud ni sa duha sa Google. So probably mga Google Meet mo na siguro ang product sa ilang pag-collaborate. Mga Google Meet, mga Zoom, kaya nga naman. You can use uh, both of the applications at the same time, the camera, the mic, and so on and so forth. So that's it for licensing. So what is its advantages? Kada ba si licensing? Igo ra ka mo borrow og mga kuan nila more technologies, know-how, ingredients. Mas mo prefer ba mo ana when it comes to global marketing? Yes, it's very convenient. As you can see, you can use other people's advantages. So how about the advantages on your company? So for many companies, licensing has proven to be a very profitable means of penetrating foreign markets. Nga naman, kay most of the products nga imong ginapapatent or gina-use would be already kanang widely known. Okay? Mas better ka magpapatent atong mga products nga kuan na ilado na all over the world. So licensing is not very demanding on the company's resources. Nga naman, because you are only copying, okay, using other people's murag knowledge or ideas. So it is especially appealing to small companies that lack the resources wherewithal to invest in foreign facilities. So most of this manggod, when we say licensing, mag-connect man ka sa main or parent ka company. So sa parent company, mag-ask ka silang technology or sila na mismo mag-provide. Example, gusto ka mag-use sa Coca-Cola logo. So dapat ang logo mismo is nagikan sa Coke. Dapat sila ra mag-produce. So igura ka collect og logo, imo din ipampikit bisag asa, let's say, ang logo imo gina-use sa mga salina, sa mga products nga imong gi-prepare and so on and so forth. So that's why medyo dili kay siya gasto and very appealing for small companies nga magduha-duha og invest in the foreign facilities. Kaya di makaka-afford og himo og imong own Coca-Cola logo, di magkuha na lang ka under license. So sila na mismo produce a product, igura ka mo distribute or mo add og value to it. So licensing allows the licensor to navigate around import barriers or to get access to markets that are completely closed to imports. Yan naman, because when you say licensing, that means kani nga mga products nga imuhang use kay already accepted in many countries. Hopefully katupod nga product nga imong piliun ha, katong known worldwide. That means pwede na kamo access to markets balag unsa sila ka stricto. Kaya nga naman, kay ang product nimo daan, kuan naman siya accepted, bahalag imo ang company kay na. So for instance, several foreign tobacco companies in China use licensing agreements to avoid the high import tax levied on imported goods. So example, si tobacco, kay medyo mahal man gina siya, og dako-dako na siya og tariffs or taxes para ila doon nang ma-avoid, nag-use sila og licensing. Let's say for example, kuan sila og Marlboro. Okay? Marlboro is accepted all over the world siguro. Let's say, mo na siyang isa ka brand sa cigarette or tobacco nga ilang use or nagpa-license sila ato para ilahang okay, para ilahang ma-avoid ang tax levied on imported goods para diretso na aprobahan ang ilang mga tobacco. Okay, nagkipag-collaborate sila with let's say Marlboro para mas dali makasulod ilang own nga tobacco products. So local governments may also favor licensing over other entry modes. Kaya nga naman, again, when we say products ang imuhang gipa-license, that means already approved. So mas easier na siya kasulod sa market and there's no need to review it na. Kaya na-review naman siya, accepted naman siya sa isa ka government or nation itself. So companies that use licensing lower their exposure to political or economic instabilities in their foreign markets because, again, these products are already established and known. in the certain, let's say, country. So that's why dili kay siya exposed and already kuan na siya kanang known na siya sa country itself. So again, the exposure to political economic instabilities, medyo di na kay siya kuan matandog. Kay again, the product is already existing and doing well in the market. So the only volatility that the licensor faces are the ups and downs in the royalty income streams. So other risks are absorbed by the licensee. So this is good as a subscription. Every year makamubayad man gud sa licensing. So imo rin yung problema kay ang pagdako sa royalty. Royalty means more siya og fee, more siya commission, okay? Based on your revenue. Okay, so the royalty again, it would be based on your revenue. So the yearly na siya mo change and probably mo taas labi nagmudako pud ang value sa imuhang sa company or sa product na imuhang gipa-patent or gi under licensing. So other risks are absorbed by the licensee. So a company might even forgo royalties and offer its products available for free, as Google did with its open source Android software, which is the platform for smartphones made by, for instance, Samsung and HTC. So, we have Google. I guess familiar mo with Google. Actually, si Google siya ang source sa Android. Okay? More na siya good as Google versus iOS, especially when we talk about smartphones. So, we have Android software. Actually, libre ni siya sa tanan Android nga mga products sa smartphones. Gilibre ni Google nga naman. Good as the moment nga nag-use ka sa ilang software, maka-revenue naman sila. So, instead nga magpa-license pa sila sa Samsung, sa HTC, sa Oppo, sa unsa pa na nga mga Android nga mga phones, kay Vivo, gilibre na lang ni Google. Kaya naman, kuan man, kanang mas paspas man ang distribution, mas daghan maka-use sa ilang services. Okay, that's why majority of our products are under Google. We're connected ta tanan sa Google because of Androids nga mga software, even laptops. So it's either Android or iOS raman ang kuan karon nga dominate sa smartphone industry in the world. So those are the advantages of licensing. So it's a very good nga mode of entry because it's very easy. Igor ka mo borrow og idea sa uban. Okay? Well, for disadvantages of licensing, the licensee may not be fully committed to the licensor's product or technology. So, it depends on you kung committed ba gyud ka sa ilang technology. Kaya what if na di kay gusto i-change, especially when it comes to ingredients. So, instead nga dapat sweet si yogurt, imo siyang gipaaslom. So, probably dili kayo ka-committed. Kaya nga naman, napod kailangan nga idea. Good as nag-borrow ra ka, then you want to improve. So, that could be another thing to consider. So, that could, but, keep in mind ha, nga bawal mangupya og idea. Let's say, nagkuan ka og yogurt. On the first year, pa-licensing ka og yogurt na ingredient. So, nakapin niya nimo ilang formula. Then, gi-end nimo ang licensing contract or agreement. Pagka next year, nag-produce ka og same product as them, pwede ka kasuhan sa original, okay? Original nga company atong yogurt because you copied their ingredients. So, kung na siya, under na siya sa inyong kontrata, nga dapat, okay, dapat di ka mo copy sa ila or mo-produce og product the same as them. So that's another thing to consider. Kay talag sa good as ingan amang good manguha ra ka og idea sa uban, then imong gamiton as your own or imong angkunon as your own, which is not good because those ideas are already patented or copyrighted. So you will be subject for a trial, okay? So next would be lack of enthusiasm on the part of the licensee will greatly limit the sales potential of the licensed product. So your lack of enthusiasm or basin di ka ganahan sa product means kuan gyapon disadvantage imo ka. Kaya nga naman, probably you want more, you'll tend to be more greedy magud pohon. So mo to. So probably that's another thing to consider kay masad man ka talag sa kay murag malimit mangud ang imong mo kay full control over your business because again you would be acting only based on the as stipulated in your contract. Okay, most of these licensing contracts are very strict. So di gud ka kapataka pod og let's say produce og product unless otherwise permitted. Okay, that's why talagsa mura kag you'll feel um less less control over your company and dili kay ka wala kay freedom. Kay freedom to really grow your potential, especially when it comes to profit and sales. So when the licensing agreement involves a trademark, there is the further risk that misguided moves made by the licensee may tarnish the trademark covered by the agreement. So sometimes, what if nasubraan nimo ibong gibutang ang logo ni Coke sa kuan product sa Pepsi nga product. So that means that is already a violation. So sometimes you might misuse or misguide yourself when it comes to licensing, okay? Especially mga trademarks. Like let's say for example, mga um, logo or product or other ingredients. Trademarks are mostly kanang composed of logo man ni siya more visible nga mga things nga let's say Disney. O what if sa Disney kay nagbutang ka character nga dili tay Disney nga character o nagbutang ka dadto og si Thanos. O let's say dili daw Disney si Thanos. So that si Thanos or si Iron Man. Di man siya under sa Disney. So example na siya. So that means imong na-violate ang imuhang licensing agreement. So that might cost you a penalty siguro. So other risks include not getting paid, failure to produce in a timely manner, or the desired volume and loss of control of the marketing of the product. Again, these are stipulated in the agreement or contract sa inyong licensing agreement. So, murag kung unsa rang naka-state didto, more pud imong scope. Let's say ang scope ra kay ing ani ra dapat imuhang let's say advertising taman, diri ra taman ang volume nga imong i-produce and so on and so forth. So that would really another thing to hamper you from growing more your company at the same time your sales. So yeah, that's another risk to consider when it comes to licensing again because you don't have full control over your product and the business itself. So the biggest danger is the risk of opportunism. So a licensing agreement could nurture a future competitor. Today's comrade in arms often becomes tomorrow's rival. As what I said earlier, pwede na nimo makopy um, ang ilahang products, ang ilahang, let's say, ingredients. So that could be a risk for opportunism. So let's say for example, imuhang kauban karon mahimo nimo kalaban tomorrow. Okay? Kaya nga naman dali gyud makopy na sila. Let's say for example, ang formula sa Coke na copy ni Pepsi. So that's example, okay? So sa una, Coke ra daw ang gakuan, gihimog soda, then naday uban nga gi-copy ang ingredients or kabalo sa pagluto, paghimo sa Coke. So mo to nakalaban na din nila. Pero same ra sila og taste. The licensee can leverage the skills it acquires during the licensing period once the agreement expires. Again, the agreement expires. So contract na siya. Nga naa na siya stipulated terms and periods. Okay? So that means after a certain number of years, probably, ma-end na din ang inyong kontrata, then may chance nga, let's say, si Coke, okay, si Coke na siya partner. Then after ato nag-end ang ilang partnership or ilang licensing agreement, nahitabo nga katong company nga connected with Coke sa una, naghimo po sila ilang own product, which is Pepsi, nga same raw product, but mas bongga sila. Okay, they can leverage the skills nga ilang gi-acquire. So mas better ang ilang gihimo. That's why mas kuan si Pepsi karon masikat. Oh, that's an example. So I guess familiar pud mo nang sa Jollibee. I guess daghan kay ga-post karon og kuan ingredients daw how to make chicken joy, how to make mga kana bitawng secret ingredients sa mga fast food chains. So that's another example like kani siya sa una kay chef. Oh, okay, chef siya sa let's say isa ka restaurant. Chef man siya sa restaurant pagkahuman kay nagtukod siya iyang own business pero iyang gi-use tong same niya nga pagluto sa katong nga restaurant. So the skills nga iyang gi-acquire iyang gibutang sa iyang own restaurant. nagpatukod ang chef mismo iyang own restaurant and use tong mga ingredients or skills ngayong natun-an sa previous, which make that person's business a rival, direct rival sa iyang old or previous nga company nga restaurant. Okay? So companies can make several moves to protect themselves against the risk of licensing agreements. So napod na sila yung move how to protect themselves para di po sila madaot sa licensing agreement. The first one would be the company should seek patent or trademark protection abroad. As I said, magpa-kuan gyud ka, magpa-copyright, magpa-trademark ka sa imong mga products, mga ingredients, imong process itself, it will be trademark. So a thorough profitability analysis of a licensing proposal is a must. There should be profitability analysis. Nga naman, dapat imong i-check para mabalaan nimo pila imong i-price as your royalty, okay? Or commission nimo nga fee based on their murag kana plans. Let's say for example, mag-borrow sila sa imong logo. So imong i-check unsa kadaghan ilang products himuon, pila ka buok a year, unsa ilang market. So pag-check nimo sa ilang profitability analysis, medyo dako, so maka-demand ka og higher na royalty fee. Let's say estimated or expected nila nga halin is 10 million. So you can ask for at least 1 million, 1.5 million for that as their yearly subscription or bayad sa imuha. So such an analysis must identify all the costs that the venture ensues, including the opportunity costs that stem from revenues that need to be sacrificed. So you need to ensure pilang mga gasto, unsang opportunity cost, unsang revenue nga imong ma-sacrifice if magpahulam ka again sa imong pangalan, sa imong trademark o sa imong patent. So careful selection of prospective licensees is extremely important. Mamili pud ka kinsa imong sugdan. Kaya what if again i-backstab ka? Okay? Kaon na imuhang, let's say, imuhang idea, then ila din i-use against you. Okay? So you need to really select kinsa man ang angay i-trust over your company or your secrets. Okay, sa imong company. So these are good as secret. That's why your company has grown gani kay tungod ani nga mga processes, tungod ani nga mga ingredients. Okay. So the contract of licensing will cover parameters such as the technology package, use conditions, including territorial rights, performance requirements, compensation, and provision for the settlement of disputes. So, ang technology nga gi-use, ang conditions nga need nimo mabalaan, like ang performance, unsa pa may kailangan, and also settlement, disputes, and compensation. So I guess that's it for licensing agreement. So I'll continue my next lecture on a separate new video. So thank you everyone and goodbye. So I hope if you have questions, please feel free to message me. Thank you and goodbye everyone.